Hi, check what I've got in the lab. It's a lunar rover. Do you believe it? It's the Audi Lunar Quattro, and with me is the head electronics designer, Karsten. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hi, welcome.
You're going to tell us all about the Audi Lunar Quattro and the X-Prize.
Exactly. So this is actually the fourth generation rover prototype that we developed. So it's before this one we actually had 4 other ones. So this is a continuous process that we started in about the end of 2008. So we've been working on this for quite a while.
8 years.
Almost, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we started with a very small rover in the beginning. Like we wanted to have really like shoe cartoon size, but then we figured out that it doesn't work because when you're driving on the moon, you need to transmit back some video, and you need to have a certain solar panel size, and this is where we started in the beginning. With
It's all a trade-off, and then you realise that was too small. Can you make a shoebox-sized rover?
Yes, you can. The thing that you have to take care of is that you need to get the data back. So if you look at the moon, it's quite far away, and you need to have some amount of energy on your antennas to get the data back with a data rate that is sufficient for video. Because when you're driving on the moon, you need to see where you're going.
Yep.
So you need to capture the video, you need to compress it, you need to transmit it, and you need to have the energy for driving. And this all adds up to quite an amount of energy. Otherwise, what you could do, for example, is you could use your landing vehicle as a relay.
You could.
Yeah.
Right. Is that what you plan on doing with this? No? So everything's transmitted from this baby?
Yes, exactly.
Straight back to Earth?
Exactly, yeah. Not with the antenna that you can see.
No, this is a Bluetooth antenna for just playing around, as you'll no doubt see some footage of. So, you guys are one of the probably 3 serious contenders left out of dozens?
Yeah, that's probably what I do.
Yeah, and there are 2 other projects that actually have tickets to the moon.
Yeah.
They actually booked.
Yeah.
Space time. When are you looking to book?
Yeah, so
rocket time for this.
So our plan was more to first develop what we want to send to the moon before we are going to book a rocket, not the other way around. So we are aiming to book the flight by about September, and then the flight will be by the last quarter of 2017, or maybe shifting into the first quarter of 18.
Who with?
We're currently negotiating with different entities. So there's one option is to fly as what's called a secondary payload on a Falcon 9, because the Falcon 9 as a whole would be way too expensive.
Yep, got it. About $60 million you were saying if you were the only person on board.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we're also investigating the Indians, which have a very nice rocket, which is called the PSLV XL. It's a very nice rocket. It's quite cheap.
Oh, tell us the price.
Well, it's between $20 and $30 million.
Bargain.
Bargain,
we'll take it. Right, totally $20 million. So you're now sponsored by Audi?
Yeah.
When did that happen?
So, as I said, we have been working on this since like the end of 2008, and we developed some prototypes, and by the mid of last year, so I think it was in June or somewhere, we announced a partnership with Audi, and they have supported us, especially with technology that helps us to make the rover more lightweight. And
it's the sexiest looking rover I've got, by far. By far. So Audi had a hand in the design?
Yes, definitely.
Right. So it looked... I can imagine, how far has this evolved from your original concept?
Well, I mean,
you said shoebox, right?
The first one was really shoebox size.
Yeah.
So I would say tremendously.
Right.
So, but the thing is that so one of the things we also learned is that if you have a small rover, you can't see very far because you're very close to the ground, and so all the hills are something that you can't look above. So this was one of the first things that we fixed in the second generation. We made it. I think it's about this size. So it's a 2/3 of the current solar panel, and we made it tiltable, so we can tilt the solar panel.
Yep.
And we added like a head where the camera head is on, so that we can look further. This was one of the things that we fixed in the second generation.
Right, brilliant. And you've gone for a 4-wheel design?
Yeah.
Why 4 wheels?
Well, so that's a good question. That all the rage is in the 6-wheel design with the massive rovers, but We decided to go with a four-wheel design because, as I said, we can adjust the solar panel to the sun to have an optimal angle, and with four wheels you can turn them easily and drive sideways like this, for example. This was one of the reasons.
Yep.
Another one is that on the moon you have this very fine dust called regolith, and it's creeping into everything you have. And
it does.
You need to be very careful on how many exposed surfaces you have, and with four wheels you have less
odds of things going wrong.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. This is one of the reasons. Yeah.
Got it. And how close? So this will not go to the moon. This is your engineering prototype. This is the only one you've got in the world. So thank you very much for dropping by the lab with it. All the way from Germany. It's designed and built in. Is that where all of your design team is?
We have some engineers in Austria, Australia.
Yep.
Yeah, and also some people from the US, some from France.
Okay.
So we're a bit over the place, but mostly we have a headquarter in Berlin now.
Now, tell us about your group. You're the part-time scientists.
Yes.
You're now a PT scientist because you're not part-time anymore. There's serious money involved in this. And how many people you've got working full-time now?
So we got about 12 people working full-time in our Berlin headquarter. And we got about 35 people as were contributing as part-time scientists.
Got it.
And we also have all the people that are working, at other entities. For example, we have a cooperation with DLR. And obviously Audi, so there are people working at Audi and DLR that are contributing to us as well.
Got it. And you're using a lot of Audi engineering resources to build this?
Yeah, this is pretty cool. They have all the stuff,
exactly.
So they have the servo chambers where you can cycle up and down. Unfortunately, it's not vacuum for some reason.
I don't know. Get onto it, Audi. Design vacuum cars that work in vacuums.
But
big market for it.
Yeah, but they also have. There was a funny story. So when we first started our cooperation with Audi, they went to the Audi design team and they told them we need to design lunar rovers, and they made the most beautiful lunar rovers for people that you could imagine. They were helping us, with some test facilities. They have the shakers and all the stuff that you need to get a mission to the moon. Well, not all, but most of stuff.
So you will be hopefully the third one who books a ticket.
Yep.
Are there any others that are coming close? Or is it sort of...
I don't want to advertise the other ones.
But
and it's competition. It's difficult to judge. There's always this the chance that some crazy billionaires putting some money at some of the other competitors, and then off they go. So
But at the moment, there's 3 major competitors, and who's going to be launched first?
This is where it gets very interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
So. Hopefully we. Let's put it.
Okay,
just,
because you're not booked yet. Do you know their launch dates?
Yeah, we kind of do. So we
kind of do. Okay.
Yeah, so it's always very vague. We are launching in the second half of in the late second half of the year 2017. So essentially, everyone is flying on the 31st December.
Got it.
So, and we know that with SpaceX, it's not going to happen probably until the beginning of 18.
So the Google Lunar X-Prize, you have to launch in 2017.
Yep, that's so
before December 31st.
So
how does it work?
So the current rule set is that you need to book a launch until the end of this year.
Right.
Otherwise, you get your...
you're scrubbed.
Yeah, you're scrubbed,
right.
Exactly.
And so you've got to pony up the money by the end of this year.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
And the launch needs to be within 2017.
Yep.
But, for example, if it's out of your hand, with
rockets blow up and...
This can introduce delays, so the launch can happen within the first quarter or the first half of 2018.
Got it. Now, you've already won 2 prizes.
Yep.
How does that work? It's not just one big $30 million winner takes all.
Yeah, but it was in the beginning. So for the Google Lunar X-Prize has been around for almost 10 years now, and so far no one has won it. So Google got a bit of thinking what can we do to get the teams going, and decided to do what's called a milestone prize. So there was a competition within the Google Lunar X-Prize, and what you had to do was you had to show that the components you developed are suitable for the moon environment, and that means you made a test plan about saying, okay, you have you're taking care of the thermal thing, you have to take care of the vacuum, you have to take care of the radiation, and then you need to do a test campaign, and a panel of space experts is looking at the test campaign, and if you do all of that and they're happy with the results, then you got the money.
They get your money.
Yeah, and we got some money.
Excellent. So which ones did you win?
So we won the rover mobility ones and the camera ones, because we developed our own camera. It's a bit special because it has 2 lenses and 1 scientific camera.
So it's all looking very promising.
Yeah.
So this one does use some space grade parts, but you can't send this one, obviously. When do you look to be building one from scratch? Once you know your estimated launch date, and or are you working on it now?
So this model here is an engineering model. It has almost all the components that you need to get to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So the aluminum and all the materials that are in there are made for space. Just some of the electronics is not space grade components yet, but it's designed in such a way that you can easily replace it with space grade stuff.
But a separate unit will go, because you need one here on the ground to.
Yeah. No. We will. So until the end of the year, we are going to build 2 more of those rovers, which are closer to what we are going to send to the moon. And those will be what's called proto-flight unit. Proto-flight model. Yeah. And also the antenna will be the one.
What will the antenna look like? Is it a dish, steerable dish?
Yeah. So it's very interesting. It's a round shape, about this size, and it can steer in one dimension. And this allows us to have a satellite link to one of those common 34 meters satellite dishes that you have in your backyard, right?
Yep.
And this allows us to have about 2 megabit of video data.
Nice. Okay, because you've got to send back real-time video.
Yeah, you have to send
it. At what resolution? HD video real-time or what?
Yeah, so...
What's the requirement?
So the requirement for the real-time video is quite interesting. It has to be, I think it's quarter VGA.
Yep.
With a frame rate sufficient to show moving.
Right. Okay.
So the thing is, if you have 1 frame per second, you can only move 10 seconds per meter per second.
Right.
Yeah. But if you want to drive as fast as we want, with our 3.6 kilometers per hour, then you need to have a higher frame rate.
Oh, terrific. Any other major hurdles still to overcome, or you're pretty confident that once you get a rocket, you can launch this puppy?
No, we are pretty confident that we have now all the knowledge and all the components together that we can build the space hardware and go to the moon.
Has anyone done any? You got a boffin there that's calculating the odds of success?
Yeah, so
it's not something you want to do.
Well, we this is it gets very tricky. So So we want to make a mission that is affordable, that we can finance, and so we have to be very careful in which components we are choosing. For example, you can have qualified components which are extremely expensive but have a higher reliability, or you can design it in such a way that certain things are allowed to fail. For example, one of the very simple things that is allowed to fail is a rover, because we are sending actually 2 rovers to the moon.
Got it. Oh, you're sending 2?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
You are sending 2.
Yeah.
Double shot.
Yeah.
In the one lander?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right, but you've only got 1 shot on the lander.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about the lander, because this thing obviously can't just fly through space and and then just land. So what's the lander going to look like?
So the lander is something that we are going to show on the ILA pretty soon, which is next week.
Right. So it's super secret at the moment.
It's medium secret.
And I can imagine it just looks boring. Does it look? Is it spider-like? Is it Apollo spider-like?
It looks, it looks pretty sleek, I have to say.
Right, okay. Because it's Audi, right?
It's not an Audi. It's not an Audi, but it's looking still pretty sleek,
Right,
I think that the people, the engineering people have got some of the good medicine for making it look sleek, but functional at the same time. So it's the lander is essentially you have 4 tanks, and you have 8 engines at the bottom.
Yep.
And the rovers are sitting on the side. So then when it's launching, when it's landing on the moon. So let's start a little bit earlier. So the rocket gets us to an Earth orbit, and the lander then goes to the moon. Goes into a moon orbit.
It goes into a lunar orbit, so it's not a direct. So it's an Apollo type mission.
Exactly. Yeah, and from the moon orbit we are descending to the surface, and this is what's called a soft landing, which means that we can shut off the engine at about 5 meters above ground, and then it will drop down. And So the rovers are sitting on the side, and they are deployed like this. So it's coming down, and then it's released here, and then check.
Ah, got it. Right.
Yeah. So we don't need any ramp or anything like this.
Got it. What happens if it lands upside down, or you're toast?
Yeah, there are many risks that there are many chances to fail. But I think that one of the reasons we have a good idea of where to land is because we're landing at Apollo 17, and there's many data about the tower slit valley, which Apollo 17 is in.
Of course, because they were probably the best data of all the Apollo missions, right?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
that was the last one.
Yeah. So, also there's the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter is also taking very high detail
high-res photos. Yep.
Because they want to see what's there and stuff like this. So.
Although I've seen those photos, you can just make out a few pixels of the lander and stuff. So it's only a meter per pixel or something, is it?
Yeah, it's it's half a meter per pixel that you can see from a pixel resolution.
Right.
But what's more important is actually the depth. So there is very high definition depth terrain where you can see, is there what is the slope that you need to climb with your rover, for example, and this is for example less than 10 degrees. Yep. And also the terrain is pretty flat, so it's you
want a flat terrain.
You can land almost anywhere, and there is a good chance that you will not land on a crater that has some crazy stuff going on.
Got it. And it's off the ground like this because you want to avoid rocks, which are typically. Have you got the average size rock might be this big and it'll just
you can
drive around it and under it. And,
the pretty thing about the Apollo 17 landing site is also that there are many pictures, the panoramas they took.
Exactly.
And so what the rock distribution looks like, and so you can adjust your mobility system such that you can handle all of that.
Yep.
And the basic idea behind our design is actually not to climb over those hills, but actually more like to avoid them.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, how close are you going to land to the Apollo 17 lander?
This is where it gets interesting. So,
because they're now historically protected landmarks, aren't they?
Well, there's
kind of some. They want them.
It depends on whether you want to visit the US anymore or not.
Right.
There's no law that you will get you arrested if you drive into it, but it's just very unpleasant if you.
Oops, we just knocked over Apollo 17. Yeah.
So there's the Apollo 17 Lunar Heritage Guidelines.
Right.
And, it basically says that if you're landing, you need to be within outside of a 2 kilometer perimeter.
Oh, and that's a fair way away.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so we are approaching it from the south. So our lander is going this way. You're not allowed to approach it in a way that could potentially, if it goes wrong, the landing hit it. So you need to go.
Interesting. Got it. Yeah.
Tangentially to it, and then we are landing about 2 to 3 kilometers southeast of the Apollo 17 landing site.
Yep.
And then you're not allowed to drive up to it straight, but you have to zigzag to it. And within 200 meters of the landing module, you can go. And the interesting part is that the lunar roving vehicle is actually standing about 250 meters from the landing module.
So you can go up and say hi to the real lunar rover.
Yeah, this is one of the things.
The original.
This is what we want to do because the interesting part about going back to the Apollo 17 landing site is not just be done with all the conspiracy theories, but also to check up on how the hardware is doing after 40 years of space exposure.
How has it survived? How much lunar dust is on it? That'll tell you a lot.
Exactly.
There shouldn't be. There shouldn't be any, right? Because there's nothing else to kick up the dust, unless there's other impacts.
This is where it gets very interesting.
Yeah.
So, for example, in theory, you would not expect to have a degradation of, for example, there are the mirrors on the surface, but you wouldn't expect any degradation, but there is degradation. And so, one of the interesting things is that there is a theory that with the night, when the night comes, there is some electrostatic fields going on that levitate some of the top surface.
Because the dust will be attracted by the electrostatic fields.
Yeah, and so there's some levitating dust going on.
Is this just a theory? Is this have they actually got evidence of this?
So the Apollo missions actually, many of them reported that they have seen some shine going on at the sunset.
Okay, interesting.
But there's not a conclusive data yet from the surface. So this is some of the things that we are going to do. Yeah.
Terrific. So you're going. There's a bonus like $4 million or something if you can photograph the Apollo landing site.
You can get a few million of that and a few million here.
Yeah,
but in the end, our mission costs are more than that anyway, and we don't care about the money. We don't care. Yep. We want to do proper science, and this is, for example, why our lens, the middle one, is so interesting. It's a tele lens, but it's a black and white sensor, and it has a filter wheel in front of it.
So interesting. You can get the different colors.
Yeah, we can look at 9 different spectra and make some material composition analysis of what we have there.
Oh, interesting. Okay, but you've got to return high-res color video.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah, but we also can return high resolution pictures, right?
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
got
it's trivial. And we also want. So the cool thing about a rover is that it actually has some payload capacity.
Right.
So we can take some additional NASA instruments, for example, to the surface of the moon, go back and do some more science.
Got it. And they can just plug into your system and transmit the data back.
So we don't just want to go back and fuck around, but we also want to do science.
Got it. Fantastic. Well, I hope it works. The odds of success got to be high. If they can land the Curiosity rover with that convoluted concept, us engineers just freaked at that. If they can land that, I reckon you can land this. So it's going to be an exciting year. So hopefully there could be at least three missions are probably going to be booked.
Yeah.
So,
so this is one of the things that we want to do as well. We want to make this not just a one-time occurrence, but we want to make a business case of it, because what's interesting is that ESA wants to build a moon village, right?
Right.
And so we
the
want
European Space
the European Space Agency wants to build a moon village, and this is something that we think is a very good idea.
It's awesome.
And we want to help them.
Fantastic. Well, I wish you the best of luck.
Thanks.
Excellent. And stick around, because we're going to do some more video talking about technical stuff. Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Karsten. What types of different radiation are there?
So there are. So it depends on where you are. So if you're, for example, if you're a CubeSat fan, then you know that there is the low Earth orbit, which is about 300 to 800 kilometers, and in that you have the inner belt of the Van Allen belt.